Hi, my name is Stacy, and this is my individual professional presentation on computer crimes and fraud for Dr. Green's Business Law and Ethics class, fall of 2020. The points I'm going to discuss in this presentation are: what is computer crime, common types of computer crimes and fraud, computer crime legislation, and how to protect yourself from computer crimes and fraud. What is computer crime and fraud? Computer crime, also called cybercrime, is the use of a computer as an instrument to further illegal ends such as committing fraud, trafficking in child pornography and intellectual property, stealing identities, or violating privacy. Cybercrime, especially through the internet, has grown in importance as the computer has become central to commerce, entertainment, and government. Computer fraud is a general term used to describe a cybercrime that intends to deceive a person in order to gain important data or information. Fraud can be done by altering, destroying, stealing, or suppressing any information to secure unlawful or unfair gain. New technologies create new criminal opportunities, but few new types of crimes. Criminals do not need a computer to commit fraud, traffic in child pornography, or steal someone's identity. All of these existed before the cyber prefix became present. Cybercrime, especially involving the internet, represents an extension of existing criminal behavior alongside some novel illegal activities. Most cybercrime is an attack on information about individuals, corporations, or governments. Although the attacks do not take place on a physical body, they do take place on the personal or corporate virtual body, which is the set of informational attributes that define people and institutions on the internet. Here are some common types of computer crimes and fraud. There are numerous types, but I chose these 5 to go into further detail about. They are hacking, identity theft, phishing, child pornography, and software piracy. Hacking is the attempt to exploit a computer system or a private network inside a computer. Simply put, it is the unauthorized access to or control over computer network security systems for illicit purpose. Hacking is one of the earliest and the most common types of cybercrime activity. It roughly started in the 1960s. Some examples of hacking include stealing identities and important information, violating privacy, and committing fraud, among others. There are different types of hacking methods, but most hackers attack corporate and government accounts. Identity theft is a specific form of fraud in which cybercriminals steal another person's personal information without authorization and makes profits from it. The identity thief may use your information to apply for credit, file taxes, or get medical services. According to the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics, more than 1.1 million Americans have been victimized by identity theft. Phishing is the fraudulent attempt to obtain a sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, and credit card details by disguising oneself as a trustworthy entity in an electronic communication. These can include phishing emails, malware, or fake websites. Child pornography is defined as any visual depiction of sexually explicit conduct involving a minor. Child pornographers and child molesters have unfortunately found the internet to be a useful tool to prey on children and make porn content very accessible now. Most countries have laws that penalize child pornography, and the Department of Justice has a special task force to devote to catching these predators. Federal law prohibits the production, distribution, importation, reception, or possession of any image of child pornography. A violation of federal child pornography law is a serious crime, and convicted offenders face fines and severe statutory penalties. Software piracy is the act of stealing software that is legally protected. This stealing includes copying, distributing, modifying, or selling the software. Copyright laws were originally put into place so that the people who developed software would get the proper credit and compensation for their work. The internet is filled with torrents and other programs that illegally duplicate original content, including songs, books, movies, albums, and software. This is a crime as it translates to a copyright infringement. Due to the software piracy, companies and developers encounter a huge cut in their income because their products are illegally reproduced. So, computer crime legislation worldwide. This slide shows the percentage of countries with legislation, with draft legislation, with none, and countries with no data for cybercrime, data protection and privacy, online consumer protection, and e-transaction laws. Cybercrime is a growing concern to countries at all levels of developments and affect both buyers and sellers. It has become a global problem due to the progress of information and communication technology. As you can see, 154 countries, or 79%, have enacted cybercrime legislation. The pattern varies by region. Europe has the highest adoption rate at 93%, while Asia and the Pacific have the lowest at 55%. The evolving cybercrime landscape and resulting skill gaps are a significant challenge for law enforcement agencies and prosecutors, especially for cross-border enforcement. As more and more social and economic activities are online, the importance of privacy and data protection is increasingly recognized. Of equal concern is the collection, use, and sharing of personal information to third parties without notice or consent of consumers. 132 out of 194 countries had put in place legislation to secure the protection of data and privacy. Africa and Asia show a similar level of adoption, with 55% of countries having adopted such legislations. Despite the importance of consumer confidence for business to consumer e-commerce, many developing and transition economies still lack laws to protect consumers online. In as many as 57 countries, it was not possible to obtain data, suggesting that online consumer protection is not being fully addressed. Out of 134 countries for which data is available, 110 have adopted legislation for online consumer protection. That share varies from 73% in Europe to 46% in Africa and 72% in the Americas. A prerequisite for conducting commercial transactions online is to have e-transaction laws that recognize the legal equivalence between paper-based and electronic forms of exchange. Such laws have been adopted by 158 countries, which is roughly 81%. So how to protect yourself? Here are a look at some of the cybersecurity to keep in mind to help protect yourself from computer crimes and fraud. You want to make sure everything is up to date. Many breaches, including the 2017 Credit Bureau that exposed the financial information of almost every American adult, boiled down to someone leaving out-of-date software running. Most major computer companies issue regular updates to protect against newly emerging vulnerabilities. Keep your software and operating systems updated. To make that easy, you can turn on the automatic updates when possible. The second suggestion is to use strong, unique passwords. It's important to use unique passwords that are different for each site. A password manager program can help you create and remember complex, secure passwords. Enable multi-factor authentication. In many situations where websites are requiring users not only to provide a strong password, but also to type in a separate code from an app, text message, or email message when logging in, it is an extra step, but multi-factor authentication makes it much harder for a hacker to break into your account. You should encrypt and back up important data. If you can, encrypt the data that's stored on your smartphone and computer. If a hacker copies your files, all he will get is gibberish rather than, for instance, your address book or your financial records. Be careful using public Wi-Fi. Anyone nearby who is connected to the same network can listen in on what your computer is sending and receiving across the internet. In short, be cautious, proactive, and informed. No person, organization, or computer can ever be 100% secure, but by taking these steps, you can make it less likely that you will be a victim. And here are the references I used for my presentation. Thank you for your time, and I hope this was informative.